Hi everyone, Hank Pomerantz here of Carolina Yacht Care in beautiful downtown Southport, North Carolina. Thank you for tuning in to this video. If you're here, there's a possibility that you were in one of my seminars as you're on your way southbound, or perhaps even a year ago northbound on the ICW, and you stopped at Southport and you joined me and we talked about the weather and we talked about navigational issues. And I've reached out to you because each one of you has participated in sending back critical information for me to pass on to the cruisers behind you. And you know the philosophy behind all that. Essentially, you guys are cruisers. I'm a cruiser as well, although it's been a little while since I've been on a long cruise. But what I'm trying to bring to all of this is a sense of what does a cruiser need as they're moving along, along their journey, and to start thinking about it more like a cruiser than an IT guy who's all whiz bang and everything. I'm just trying to get the information out there that I think we need, an approach that I think we need. And what I'm looking at from you guys is to either validate that I'm on the right track or tell me that I'm completely screwed up or something in between. Something that says, this would really be good if you only did it this way. A couple of caveats. First of all, I'm using Google Earth through all of this. Google Earth is probably not going to be the platform for a couple of reasons, but it's a good platform to start, and I think it helps get the point across about what you can do with very, very simple software, something that's completely free, and that's really kind of where we want to head with this thing. We're going to do this in a series of about 3 videos. The first one is going to introduce you to Google Earth. And Google Earth, you'll have to forgive me if this is too simplistic for you. Google Earth is very, very easy to use, but I don't want to assume that everybody has had experience with it. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is download Google Earth, and in that first video I'll give you the download site. And then we'll go through some of the minor controls there. And then in the second video we'll talk about how to put information on there. For example, I'm crossing Lockwoods Folly Inlet, and what do I need to know about crossing Lockwoods Folly Inlet, and how do I click a button to get me the information I need all within the Google Earth environment. And then as we go up the ICW, what is the next one? Oh, maybe it's Carolina Beach Inlet, so it's the same sort of thing. And we try to give you all the information that you need for a safe passage. It's as simple as that. In the third video, and I think there was only going to be 3, but in the third video, we'll talk about the weather. How do I click on there and get the weather for where I am, get any warnings, get the radar, get all of that stuff, all with a simple click in the button. And again, basically trying to stay within Google Earth, so you don't have to go anywhere looking for all this stuff. Again, I really appreciate what you guys are doing here. I look forward to your honest feedback, and really, truly, if you don't think this is going to work, I need to know that too. And but primarily I'm looking for as much positive feedback that you can give me to improve the product if it's going to move forward, if it makes sense to you. So here we go. Let's go into the first video. The first video again is just a little bit of tutorial on Google Earth, and let's get started. See you later. Pomerantz here from Carolina Yacht Care in beautiful Southport, North Carolina. As I mentioned in my introductory video, we're going to take a look first at Google Earth, because Google Earth is the prime platform we're going to use to display all of the information, basically the database of information, in a highly visual way. When we look at the screen, let's start off by looking at this entire screen. Let's start off on the left side here. You'll notice along the left side there that there's a bunch of items that you can click. These are all options for you to expand and look at different areas. We have nautical charts, we have navigation, we have tides and weather. In the subsequent videos, we'll be talking about each one of these things and the information that's available under them and how best to make use of it. But in this video, what I want to do is I want to concentrate on this side, because it's important to understand how we can manipulate Google Earth to the best of our advantage. And I don't want to make any assumptions that you guys know about how to use Google Earth. You may or may not have had experience. But so let's go through some just rudimentary steps, and we can move on. The first thing to notice is that the little hand here allows you to move the globe all over the place. So you can move it left and you can move it right and you can move it up and you can move it down. That all makes sense. If you want to zoom in, you basically just double click and take your hand off and it'll zoom into a certain amount. You can just continue to double click, etc., all the way down to the level that you need. So that's one way to do it. It's not necessarily the most efficient way. And by the way, it'll only go down each time you double click. It'll only go down a certain amount, so you'll have to keep doing that. An alternative is to use the slider on the left hand side here. So this is basically zooming out. That's basically zooming in. Of course, all this stuff is intuitive to you, I'm sure. And then the other thing is just to use the slider bar itself by zooming out and zooming in. It's a little bit smoother, but it allows you to get all the way down to the resolution of the data and a little bit beyond that. So that's as simple as that is. Again, you double click or you just zoom in and out using the slider bar and these buttons. The other couple of items you have here for navigation purposes is, remember how I just showed you that you can slide left and slide right? Well, that's essentially what these buttons are. This is slide left, this is slide right, slide up, slide down. And it's all just as similar to doing this, just like that. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and actually no, I think I'll just keep it here. These buttons up here are a little bit different. This one and this one talk to being able to turn the display around. This is important to us as cruisers because I think my tendency, I'm just moving it. My tendency here is to like to look at things such that the up on my screen is my direction. And that's just me. You may like it the other way, but in any case, you can turn it any way you want. So here I am. Basically, this is Lockwood's Folly Inlet. North towards Southport is this way, and if let's say I want to zoom in a little bit, there you go. Just zoom right into the inlet. So the other two items here are these two buttons. This one aligns it so that you are basically looking straight down on the item. In other words, it's if the satellite is right over your head, looking straight down on your head. Conversely, this one changes your perspective so that it looks like a more horizontal view of things. Now notice what I'm doing here just by holding the button. I'm starting to look up the coast in a much more horizontal view. If I bring that back to Lockwood's Folly, you can see how different that display looks. And if I zoom in, I can really get a sense of, it's more of a bird's eye view than it is a satellite view, if you will. That's the way I like to think about it. So there you go. Those are the controls for that, and I think you're going to find that you're going to be looking at all different kinds of perspectives on these as you learn to use some of the products that we're using. And that's it for all of the controls over here. I'll go ahead and zoom out here just so you can see. You'll notice how it automatically goes back into the kind of like the satellite looking down view when I zoom out to a certain point. See that? Okay. That pretty much takes care of what you need to know within the map. You'll notice up here that there are some additional things that you can do. This hide the sidebar thing is just that these products over here. You can add all kinds of things to your own map and then save them for calling up later. You can add a polygon, a path. You'll see where I do that myself a little later as I show you the path through Lockwood's Folly, for example. You can add an image, you can record, and you can do things like that. These are all items that you can discover on your own. There's no reason you don't really need to use them for the sake of what we're going to be doing right now. So that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that's important to know. Just understand how to navigate it. And I will also, as you can see on here, I'm also giving you the site to go ahead and download Google Earth Pro in case you want to do that. Google Earth Pro is free. It used to be that cost money, but no longer. Okay, so our next video is going to talk to these nautical charts, And just to give you a little tease there, if I click on nautical charts here, boom, there's my nautical charts. And again, as I zoom in here, the nautical charts will end up giving me the resolution that I need. And you can turn off the nautical charts. The whole idea of this process is to be able to turn off and on things within this display that you see here, as simple as that. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the upcoming video. Thank you.